it's our teleSur's Daily News Show. We start off, as always, in Latin America. Brazilians are not happy over the proposal to cap public spending increases for 20 years. They're concerned that it would dramatically worsen conditions for ordinary Brazilians, especially the poor. This is the latest by President Michel Temer, who stole power from ousted President Dilma Rousseff months ago, which undermines leftist gains in the country. The spending gap would mean freezes in health, education, and other key areas. The measure still requires another vote in the lower house before heading to the Senate for final approval. This could happen in the coming weeks. Without that money for 20 years, we will not be able to survive. Public schools and public and federal universities will close if we do nothing. We're fighting for our student rights. The Haitian migration situation at Mexico's border with the United States has been exacerbated due to the devastation caused by Hurricane Matthew. A surge in the number of Haitians seeking asylum this year had prompted the U.S. government to end special protections dating back to Haiti's last major disaster, a 2010 earthquake that killed more than 200,000 people. Now, after over 1,000 people died in Haiti after the hurricane, their resolve to enter the U.S. is as strong as ever. At the border, Haitians spend long hours in the hope of being able to meet with U.S. immigration authorities to obtain an asylum permit. And speaking of Haiti, a Dutch ship from Curaçao was turned away due to a lack of port security as it docked in Haiti with the goal of distributing much-needed aid to hurricane survivors. According to a Red Cross official, the ship carried 35 tons of relief items, including food, shelter kits, and hygiene kits. Reports are the ship left because there was no organized way in which the aid could have been distributed. Now on to international news. The UN Special Envoy for Yemen announced that a 72-hour ceasefire in Yemen will begin Wednesday night. This after the mounting death toll from Saudi airstrikes that have continued to pound the country. The envoy said that the ceasefire will allow for the expanded delivery of humanitarian assistance. Russia's defense minister has announced that Russia and Syria have halted airstrikes in the city of Aleppo in Syria. This comes 2 days ahead of a planned pause in bombing designed to allow rebels and civilians to leave. The defense minister said Syrian troops will be pulled back to allow the rebels to leave unhindered. Iraqi and Kurdish forces are reportedly closing in on the city of Mosul in Iraq. The forces say they have secured some 20 villages on the outskirts of the city in an operation to retake what is Islamic State group's last major stronghold in Iraq. However, some civilians could be forcibly expelled, trapped between the fighting lines, or used as human shields by the militants. Israel has suspended its cooperation with the UN Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Israel's decision follows the cultural agency's adoption of a resolution that sharply criticizes Israeli policies around the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. Israel says UNESCO has ignored its religious ties to the key holy site.
A report published Monday by rights group Defense for Children International Palestine said that Israeli authorities have arrested at least 5 Palestinian minors without a charge over Facebook posts that Israel claimed incited to violence. According to the group, 17-year-old Ahmed was interrogated twice in August without having access to a lawyer over his posts on Facebook. Although Ahmed told the interrogator that he had deleted the posts in question, he was accused of obstructing the interrogation and was sustained to 6 months in administrative detention.
According to international laws and legitimacy, Israel doesn't have the right to detain minors only because they express their opinion on social media. Israel believed that this suppressive measure can stop the Intifada, which was basically sparked by a generation of youths. The international community must intervene to stop these lawless measures.
Another teen, Fadi, served 7 months in Israeli imprisonment for posting a picture of a rifle on his Facebook page. According to the prisoners' rights group, Ad-Damir, at least 340 Palestinian minors are being held in Israeli jails on political ground without charge or trial.
I pay tribute to the Palestinian children in the West Bank who are being arrested by Israeli forces. These children are suffering, and this action means that Israel is unable to silence our children and our youth.
Israel has argued that a wave of violence with Palestinians over the past year has been refueled by social media. Last month, the Israeli government said they were working with Facebook to cut down on the use of content on social media that incites violence. Recently, Facebook suspended the accounts of several Palestinian journalists without providing any warning or explanation. Nur Harazin, teleSUR TV, Palestine.
Groups of mostly women protesters dressed in black demonstrated in New York and Washington, D.C. in front of Trump Tower and the Trump International Hotel. The groups protested Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump's comments from a 2005 video in which Trump bragged about groping women. 12 refugee children who were living in France's so-called Calais jungle have left for the United Kingdom to join their relatives. After staying at a temporary shelter, they were transported to Britain to be united with family members living there. This was made possible under EU family reunification rules known as the Dublin Regulation.
Thousands of people of the town of Qudsiya neighborhood in Damascus gathered in the streets to celebrate the arrival of the Syrian army after militants withdrew under reconciliation agreement.
The gunmen were scattered all over the place here. We didn't feel safe at all. We were afraid all the time, even inside our homes. But now, after the arrival of the Syrian army, joy and safety have returned to our hearts.
Residents carried Syrian flags and pictures of President Bashar al-Assad surrounding the Syrian soldiers. This is the image that filled the streets. One of the excitement and hope for a future of peace.
We can't describe how happy we are with the victory of the Syrian army and their arrival. It's like we're having a party. Now we feel safe. We have been living in fear. We have been living a tragedy, and now it's over.
According to informed sources, the Qudsiya agreement will be repeated elsewhere in the region surrounding Damascus and across Syria. Everyone is hopeful of this political solution through reconciliation after 5 years of fighting. HAZEM ABDULLAH, teleSUR, Syria.
Catherine Connolly is the first American full-time student at Cuba's prestigious National Ballet School. Connolly hopes to return to the United States with an edge by learning the powerful Cuban style with its dazzling turns and jumps. Cuba is renowned for its rigorous state-subsidized ballet education, which has produced many dance stars. And that's all for From the South. For more on these and other stories, you can visit our website, telesurtv.net/English.